It's time for What's News, our bi-weekly look at the world of science. And this week we start with the news from the CERN supercollider of the discovery of what could be the first hint of a brand new type of particle. The LHC-B team of the Large Hadron Collider analysed over 10 years of data to try to understand how an unstable particle called a B meson that are created for an incredibly short space of time in the LHC decay, or in other words, change into other particles such as electrons. Scientists' current understanding of these particles is dictated by the standard model of physics, which says that these particles should break down into either muons, another type of particle, or electrons. We expected this decay into either muons or electrons to be about a 50-50 split. Imagine it as like a coin. It could land heads or tails, and over time, flipping the coin over and over again will cause the heads and tails to even out, and the odds will be about 50% heads and 50% tails. However, these new results suggest that the breakdown of these B mesons is creating more electrons than muons. If we use our coin flipping idea again, when we flip the coin, it is coming up heads significantly more often than tails. While these results are really interesting, they will require a massive amount of new and continuing research to confirm that these results are accurate, and that this strange phenomenon is actually happening. This will be a story to watch in the future. Keep your eyes peeled. Can you hear the seagulls? I can hear the seagulls. Every time we do one of these, we seem to talk about Greenland at some point, and this time round is no exception. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science has shone light on a forgotten event. In 1966, US Army scientists took ice samples by drilling down through a mile of ice in northwest Greenland. While doing this, they pulled up a 15-foot long tube of dirt from below the ice sheet. This sample was forgotten about in a freezer until 2017, when it was rediscovered during the process of moving ice cores from one freezer to another. When this dirt was analysed, scientists were amazed to discover that perfectly preserved fossil plants, some of which had never been seen or found by science before, were captured in these samples. These delicate plant fossils are normally destroyed through the movement and pressure caused by the mile or so of ice above it. This startling discovery has shed light on the plant life of Greenland before the last glacial period, about 110,000 years ago. The sample suggests that Greenland was covered in an arboreal forest, very similar to what covers Siberia and northern Russia now. The data collected really highlights how fragile Greenland's ice sheets are and how big an impact current global climate change will have on Greenland. Studies conducted in Costa Rica suggest that waste products from coffee production can dramatically increase the rate that deforested rainforests can re-establish themselves. Researchers from the University of Hawaii spread the coffee pulp across old agricultural land and found that the area treated with this pulp recovered 4 times faster than the areas that weren't treated with coffee pulp. As well as recovery times, the study found tree canopy cover was 60% higher in these coffee fertilised areas. Dr. Rebecca Cole, the lead author of the paper, said, "We hope our study is a jumping off point for other researchers and industries to take a look at how they might make their production more efficient by creating links to the global restoration movement." The population of the International Space Station may be higher than we previously thought, with the discovery of 3 different bacterial strains on the ISS. These bacteria were all from the Methylobacterium species, I'll put the name here, and are involved in a large number of plant processes, including nitrogen fixation and plant growth. The discovery of these bacteria in space could prove useful in the growing of crops in space. For plants to grow in extreme places where resources are minimal, these novel microbes that we found could help to promote plant growth in these stressful conditions. For the first time in 400 years, there are beavers in mid-Wales. The Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust has released 2 beavers onto the Corris Diffy Nature Reserve in Powys. If I've said that wrong, I've also written it here. There's eventual plans to release up to 6 beavers onto various sites across mid Wales. The release of the beavers is hoped to manage important peat bog habitat. The semi-aquatic mammals are known as ecosystem engineers, and their presence can help to restore wetlands, and they benefit wildlife through their foraging for plants and trees. A public consultation into the scheme was held last autumn by Natural Resources Wales, and a licence issued early this month. While the beavers are not wild, the team behind the scheme says having the animals at a visitor hub such as Corrie's Diffie will help inform people about their behaviour and how it can support the restoration of habitats. Yes! I got through the beavers bit! And we have saved the strangest story of the week, and probably the best story, till last. Janelle Shane, a research scientist from Colorado, has developed 4 AI courtship bots capable of generating original pickup lines. These lovelorn AIs have produced some truly incredible lines, and here is just a selection of my favourites. You have a lovely face. Can I put it on an air freshener? I want to keep your smell close to me always. You look like a thing, and I love you. You look like Jesus if you were a butler in a Russian mansion. Your eyes are like 2 rainbows, and a rainbow full of eyes. And I can't take my eyes off you. My name is a complicated combination of 75 degrees of forward motion, 25 degrees of left foot drift, 75 degrees of upward acceleration, and infinity. And that is the point where my love for you stops.